Earlier today, Rivian pushed out an over-the-air update to its customers. It's software 24.11.01. And this software update is improving the public charging experience of its customers, something that I often talk about. I think electric vehicles should do a better job at helping customers find the right charger along their route. And I think this update's going to do that. So I reached out to the company. They were able to send me the update a few days earlier so I could test it out, play with it for a little bit, and also interview their Vice President of Software, Wassym Bensaid. Those of you that follow this channel will recognize Wassym because I've had him on before talking about Rivian software. So if you have a Rivian or if you're just interested in what this new software update's going to do, stick around because the interview's coming up next. So I'm here today with Wassym Bensaid, Rivian's VP of Software. And this isn't Wassym's first time here on State of Charge. I appreciate you coming on again, Wassym. What do you got for us this time? We got a new software update just breaking, I think, today.
Tom, first of all, happy to see you again and meet your great audience. Yes, we're here for a new software update. Really excited about some of the new changes that we have in the new OTA. And I think you're one of the biggest supporters to really get users of EVs to a great charging and trip planning experience. So we thought that we wanted to share this with you first.
Well, I appreciate that. And thank you for recognizing that. It is part of my goal to help people understand charging. And, you know, that's probably the biggest pain point we have with people getting into EVs for the first time. They know how to drive the vehicle, but some people struggle a little bit understanding how to charge it. So I understand this new software update, which I think is 24.11.01, is going to improve the charging experience for Rivian owners. How so?
So we're introducing what we call the Rivian charging score, which is a way to help users automatically get a rating on the chargers and then include that into the trip planner. So I'm sure all of you, and Tom, you included, I have seen lots of your videos, you went to chargers and then you were thinking that you would have 30-40 minutes of charging, and then either the charger is broken or you spent a much longer time. And we really wanted to give a predictable tool for our users so that they have that peace of mind when they go to a charging station. And we wanted that to be objective. We wanted to be based on all the great data that we're collecting from our vehicles. So this is the new feature that we're introducing, and we're really excited about building yet another feature that will help our users have really that peaceful experience when charging and trip planning, and don't really think about it. It should just work. That's eventually our goal.
Well, that's important. It has to just work. If we don't get to that point, we're never going to have a high percentage of electric vehicle adoption. So what you're introducing here, and I actually have already downloaded it a couple hours ago on my Rivian. Thank you. You pushed it out to me a little bit earlier, so we can talk about it here. You know, in the past, and I've been driving EVs for 15 years now, I've relied on, say, there's this app called Plugshare. And that's a crowdsourced app where people leave comments. They say, don't go to this charger, it's broken, or this charger is really good, or 2 out of 4 are broken, or so forth. So that's really has been one of the better tools to use. But what you're doing is a little bit different than like a crowdsourcing where people just put in comments that they want. How does your software figure out which chargers are better?
Yeah, exactly. So we actually thought a lot about following a logic like Plugshare or ABRP to that extent, which is a Rivian team now, and having that crowdsourced feedback. We really think that crowdsourced feedback fits better things like amenities, things like, okay, do you have the right conditions when you go to the charger? But in this case, in terms of indicating performance, we really wanted to design it in a way where it's facts and data based. So in this case, we take into account data like, okay, the number of successful sessions, the number of tries that you do when you connect to the charger, also the peak performance, because in some cases, you may go to a charger, you may connect successfully, but then for all sorts of reasons, thermal or the response from the charger, you end up with not the performance that you're expecting. Obviously, as you know, charging is a bit complex, and there's all sorts of reasons also why this experience may not be the right one. Like in some cases, you have failures due to payment errors. You don't have a credit card on file. You have failures because the cable is not well connected. You have failures because any specific vehicle issue. So we built the logic to be really smart to exclude that noise and really get data from the field, which represent in an accurate way the rating objectively of that charger.
Right. And that's important because you don't know what you don't know. And, you know, I've noticed when I'm at public charging places and I talk to the people in the cars next to me, they say things that's completely wrong, but they don't know any better. And it's not that they're dumb. This is new. And, you know, I'll have somebody in a Taycan pulling like 50 kilowatts at a station next to me and they're happy. They're like, yeah, things are going great. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like, yeah, exactly. Like unplug and go to the next one and you'll charge at a much higher rate. You say, well, you know, it's okay. It's charging. And they might leave a good score, say on Plugshare, exactly. You know, whereas, you know, you're I'm assuming your software, if you plugged in a Rivian at 10% state of charge and it was getting 50 kilowatts, that would factor into giving the station a lower score. And speaking of which, I noticed one thing I like about Rivian, and I own a Rivian R1S. On the navigation system, you could filter. There's a lot of filters you could set, which is really cool. You could filter out certain networks that you don't like, certain power levels. And now you can filter out with this new software, low scoring charging sites. So what gets filtered out? I noticed your scoring system is like A, B, C, D, and E, or was it just A, B, C, D? I forget. I only played with it for like an hour. Does it go all the way to F? Yeah, I looked at it actually really briefly. But I'm gonna really play around with it tonight. I'm gonna navigate to places. But when you filter out low scoring sites, what gets filtered out? Just Fs or Ds and Fs, or
it's actually it keeps only A and B. So we filter out C, D, F because we believe that it's not a percentage which is good enough to provide a good experience to our users.
Okay. And I noticed one of the things that happens now is if you're on a long road trip and the vehicle senses that you need to stop at a charger, it routes you to chargers. That's nothing new. It did that before, but now you can prioritize the sites based on their score. So it will select a higher rated site if there's one, I guess, within your range over a low scoring site. That's really good. I like that a lot because it's so much easier when the vehicle just selects the charger for you. And now that I know it's going to kick out the ones that, you know, have lower scores, that really works. And talk a little bit again about the scoring. Like, how long have you been keeping data from the vehicles, I guess, as a community? Because that's how you're getting this data from actual Rivian customers, what they're using, these public chargers.
Yeah, so we've been working on the system since more than 12 months now, and we have been collecting all this data. It's been actually running in the vehicle in shadow mode, and as we started feeling confident about the data, this is now where we're activating it and making it visible to the user. And we feel it's a way to really give power to the user so that they truly have a very objective way of knowing where they are going.
Okay. I noticed that none of the Tesla Superchargers, even the ones that are authorized to use with the adapter, which I have, I didn't get it from you guys yet, even though I've bought 2 Rivians, but I did get one from Ford. So I have one. I don't need one. I know you have to get them out to your customers, but I noticed none of the Tesla Supercharger sites had scores. And I assume that's because you don't have any data from that yet. It just started. But will you score those also?
Exactly. So the way the system is built is we only start displaying the score after a threshold that we think is statistically representative. So, it's around more than 200 charging stations from our vehicles. Now, the more our customers get to charging stations, the more our customers, in this case, use the NACS Supercharger stations, the more we can accumulate data, which will help us guide our customers towards those stations.
Okay, so here's one thing that's really not a question. It's more of a comment that I'm going to ask you to comment on. I recently took my Rivian up to New Hampshire and to northern Massachusetts. We have some friends up there. And so I stopped along the way at a few places, and I had that still in my navigation. So I set it now and had it route me if I was going to leave. So it stopped me the first time at a Rivian Adventure Network site. And then the second site was an Electrify America. The Rivian site only had a B rating. It didn't have the top rating. So my initial thought was, oh yeah, sure. All their sites, they're going to give them the best scores out there. Not true. If you don't have good data from that site, you're going to ding your own site. Will it ever get to the point where you would kick it off if it had a really low score?
Of course. Okay. The way this is all built is, again, we want to give the power to customer, to the user. If some of our sites is not performing well, it's also great eye opener for us, a great reminder for us, and we need to fix it. So, and this is really one of the reasons why we wanted the score to be completely objective, to be completely data driven. We don't change any of the data that we're collecting. We want all Rivian chargers and stations to be shown as A, but if the reality is we have issues in some of them, well, we need to fix it.
Now, I also saw that there's going to be, and like I said, I really haven't had time to use it much. I just got it a couple hours ago. You can add comments, right, on the charging stations. There's an icon, I think, that you can click on. And okay, so let's say I charge here and I leave a comment. How does that factor into your rating as compared to the actual data you get from the vehicles?
That's a great question. So that does not factor yet, but that's a feature that we're introducing so that we build all those data so that in the future we can add another score that is based on the subjective comments. Our goal eventually, what we want to build in the future, is really keep this score, which is completely objective, completely data driven, and then have an optional score, which is based on comments from our customers. That could be, okay, the station itself doesn't look nice. There's a great restaurant near the station. I really enjoyed the station. I had the amenities are great. So this is why we introduced this new feedback button, which is also coming with this OTA. And the goal is collect those data. And the beauty here is coming from Rivian customers. So we trust our community, we trust our users. And as we collect those data, we will be able in the future to also build an index, which will be the subjective rating from our users.
State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charging equipment you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and let the EV charging installation professionals at Qmerit install it.
That's good. I mean, I could see the usefulness of that. For me, one of the biggest things is when sites are located in areas that don't look safe. Behind buildings. A lot of people charge late at night, and I've been to plenty of charging sites where even I, when I'm getting out to plug in, I'm looking around and concerned that the area is not that well. I think that's something that needs to get factored into site scores because there's some sites that are currently, and I'm not saying Rivian Adventure Network sites, but there are some sites out there that are in some sketchy areas that make me feel uncomfortable. And I can imagine if it was a young lady, that maybe not be as prepared to defend themselves if a situation came up as I could. So I think that's something you should definitely have out there because that's important that people feel comfortable and safe at these sites.
100%. And the beauty of all of this, with this connected data architecture that we have, the more charging sessions our customers have, the more data we collect, the more feedback they enter, the more data we have, the better rating we have. And it's a great way to keep everybody honest and really keep pushing to improve the charging experience and really forget about charging as a barrier for EV customers.
I noticed you also with this update, the rear passengers now get to see your trip, the navigation system and ETA, like how long the trip is. I would love that for like Ubers, you know, to have the screen right there where you see exactly where you are along the trip. What was the impetus to include that? Did customer feedback, people say that? It was just that they'd like to see that, or was it just something that you guys thought would be a good addition?
It's a lot of customer feedback. I mean, we had hard time from customers who wanted to get more activity in the rear screen, but that feature, we call it the "Are we there yet?" I think all of us who traveled with our R1s and have kids in the background, we got asked lots of questions on, okay, Dad, where is the next stop? Are we there yet? So this is why we included the navigation screen in the back. But generally, as you see, we really wanted to give life with the new design to the rear screen, and there's more to come in the future. And I know many of our customers will want to also use the rear screen during camping, during other experiences. So all of that are features that we're thinking about, and like we would love our customers now to start using it and give us that feedback.
Okay, one last question, because I know we have a time limit here. We talked about in-vehicle information now. What gets added to the app, and do you have to be on a certain version or later of the app? What does this improvement do for people viewing their app? What do you get to see in that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Tom. So same information is also on the app. Once the vehicle is updated, we have what we call cloud flags. I'm getting to the weeds here, but we'll be able to have the feature go live from the cloud, and then customers will be able to see the same exact information from the mobile app. They will see the rating, and they will have the same filtering capabilities as well, where the system will guide them to stations which are rated B or higher.
Okay. And, thank you very much. But there's one last thing I want to add really quick. It's kind of a little bit off topic, but I have to thank you and say, I actually am very happy with the charging information we get on the driver's display now. Particularly, I've been charging at Tesla Superchargers with the NACS adapter, and that's another congratulations for being the second company to get that. From what I understand, that was probably because you had the software ready. The other manufacturers are still scuffling to get their back end software to sync with Tesla's and work. I know I talked to Ford about this. They said that that was their main focus, to get that done so they could be first. And you guys came out second, and you weren't the second to announce it. You leapfrog people. I'm assuming it was because your software was ready. Talk a little bit about why you decided to improve that display. I mean, we have how much the cost is on the network, the charging. It looks great now. By far, I think it's the best information of any electric vehicle that you get with charging information, and that's so important. Talk a little bit about why you did that.
Thank you, Tom. I'm really glad you're saying this, and all the feedback on social and what we got from our customers were extremely positive. I mean, I think charging as a whole is super important for us, super important for our customers. It was really important for us to introduce the NACS supercharging capabilities. We wanted to have the best digital experience. We wanted to make it seamless for our customers, very similar to what you would get if you were on a Tesla. To give the credit to the Tesla Energy team, we had a great collaboration with them. I mean, the advantage that we have is we build our entire software stack in-house. We have our team here in Palo Alto. We work super closely with the Tesla team. They have been awesome to work with. And we had lots of joint integration camps, lots of really integration and joint collaboration, so that we can bring this full integration, not just in our own vehicle, our own mobile app, but then between the two backend systems. And at the end, we're delivering a great experience for customers, and both companies were pushing towards the same direction, which is really having more and more customers enjoy EVs and pushing for more sustainability, pushing the joint mission, which is what all OEMs should be doing together.
I totally agree. And I just wanted to make sure you got props for that. I was very impressed. And
Thank you.
it just, I understand charging. A lot of people don't. And I can imagine somebody new to watching it, to have that information there, the current charging power, the cost, it's just so much nicer than just wondering what, how much it's costing you at this point and how fast the vehicle's charging. Rivian does a really good job at that. And, I just wanted to give you credit for that. But that's it for here today. Now I'm going to go out and play with it and see if I can find some mistakes or some errors or bugs. I know, I think this is, I'm probably about 5 days before the full on release. But thank you for pushing it out to me. I appreciate what you're doing to try to make the vehicles better, to try to improve the customer experience. And hopefully we could do this again sometime when you have the next big software update that comes out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks again.
And I'd like to thank Wassym again for coming on State of Charge. As far as software updates go, he's the guy I want to talk to at Rivian. So it's really good that he's willing to come on and talk to me about it. And I'm also very appreciative that Rivian continues to improve my vehicle with over-the-air software updates. This update in particular is very important to me, that Rivian is focused on trying to help improve the customer's public charging experience. And I think all OEMs really have to take a good hard look at that. And it's not something that the car companies are used to doing, particularly the legacy brands that don't have to worry about refueling at all. But now your charging experience becomes such a big part of your overall ownership experience. The brands have to understand that and do a better job at making public charging in particular an easier and more pleasant experience. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please don't forget, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.